Hello, Mustang fans, and welcome to another episode of the Mustang Owners Podcast. I'm your host, John Clor, along with my co-host, Mike Rey. And, we say everybody's got a Mustang story, and we want to get your Mustang story on the Mustang Owners Podcast. Tonight, Mike, we've got a Mustang story about a guy who's really made his whole life about Mustangs after an entire career at Ford, and then his collection is just off the hook, and we don't know if everybody really even knows about this. So we're going to take you inside the Motor City Mustangs collection of the one and only Mike Berardi, the former field service ops manager for Ford Motor Company. He's the guy that field service engineering, Mike, had to solve the problems in the field after a car was made, and he had to find the problems and recall it and re-engineer it. What a job at Ford Motor Company.
Yeah, and super well respected at Ford and also definitely in the Mustang community. And he's been nothing but beyond great to us all the years.
Yeah, he sure has. So, Mike Berardi, this is one's for you. For those of you who haven't been into this secret warehouse and haven't been to the Woodward Dream Cruise or hanging out with him when Mike was taking us through here, he's going to be doing more of his tours when you come to Detroit. So we want to give you a heads up what you might be able to see. And Mike, the first thing I'm going to show everybody is I think he has a penchant for all years Mustang, but just lately he's really been adding to his Fox body. So we'll open our tour of Motor City Mustangs by checking out all of his lineup down the middle of his building of a row of Fox bodies. And Mike, was it his intention to get every single year Mustang ever produced?
All right, so let's back it up and give him a quick little previous story here, John, is that during the 50th celebration, 2014 in Dearborn, Ford World Headquarters tasked us to get one of every single year car to be on display. And there was a few that weren't, there. I remember, John, the 80, 81s were tough to get. So we were searching all around for them, and we were pulling a lot of them from Mike's personal collection, the ones we needed to get. But he didn't have a couple of these either. And that got him on the bug, and then he started trying to fill in holes and trying to get one of every one that was kind of built. And, it's expanded because I think his collection was probably like 40, 45 then, and now he's approaching like 70. So it's like, but that I think was really literally lit the match when we were trying to get one of each year, and the 79 pace cars, all the cool cars like that Mike has, and we're going to probably see him in these pictures. But just to give you guys, the Bullits, the Shelbys, the Cobra R's, you're going to see it all here. So it's definitely a collection you need to see if you're in Michigan, especially during like Woodward week. I'm sure Mike will have a day designated for tours, and it's just something, if you haven't been, you have to see it at least once. I'll never forget the first time I walked in there and my mouth was just on the floor with all those cars.
Just like everybody on the podcast won't forget this one, the first one that walked through with Joe Deladvitch shooting these pictures. Thank you, Joe. My buddy on Ford Performance Photography for a couple of years now. So so that's absolutely needs to be said. Imagine, Mike, how many engineers do we know? They worked at Ford their lives and they go home and they drive in a Jaguar. But Mike Berardi, field service engineering is a tough job. But he loved the cars. He loved Mustang. And when he retired, he collected 20 or 30 cars. And his wife said, well, you're retired, no more cars, right? And what happened? Yeah, I think Mikey's over 75 now.
Yeah. I know, it's growing like crazy,
Yeah. So when we walk in, you can't miss, the fact that he's got, the summer edition 93 Mustang convertibles, a yellow one, a red one. He's got the 7-Up car. Like you said, the early 80 Cobras, those are so hard to find. That's what Mike, he kind of drives him. So give him kudos for going on those Fox bodies.
Absolutely. And don't forget, if you're in there, and I don't know if there's a picture in this podcast here, but look for Clor's Corner down at the live at the Berardi collection.
Let's see if that's in here. So when I walk in the door, right by the door, what does he have? He's got the 65 pace car. If you're going to start a Mustang collection and you want to, it started in 64 and a half at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This is a hard car to get. Yeah, it's a replica, but Mike, it's a really good shaped car. And didn't Nick Terzis pull this out and put it on Woodward? Because few people have an Indianapolis, a 65 Indianapolis pace car which is, even if it's a replica. No, it's not the convertible that Bill Ford owns.
Right.
But how cool is that to get that early of a 65? Having it in with the Guardsman blue stripe. Wimbledon white. Come on, how cool is that? Very cool to start the collection off.
You know, John, when I first seen that car too, the first gift I ever gave Mike Berardi, who, if you guys don't know, is my successor at MOCSEM as president. But I gave him a picture of all the white 65s that were in a parking lot there that were going out for the, for the pace cars and things like that. And it had all the execs out there standing to it. That was the first gift I ever gave Mike, because I thought of it when I seen that car, and it's still hanging in his office today.
And here's a little piece of Mustang trivia for you, which I was going to save for our trivia. No, I'm going to save it for our trivia contest. Okay. I was going to give you some trivia about this pace car, but
I know exactly what the question is, and I know the answer.
I know you do. Don't give it away. All right, let's move on. Let's keep going down the row here at the Motor City Mustangs collection of
That's great, John. I know exactly what you're referring to.
Oh, you son of a gun, Mike. We think in the same way. We think in the same manner. I know. All right, so the other part is, for some reason, Cobras are part of it. You can see, when you see the lineup of Cobras, if you're going to have Cobras, you got to have SVT's Cobra R's. And I know when you get a 93R, those are kind of, Mike, I never thought when I went to SVT in 95 that the 93Rs would have ever passed $100,000 now. But some of the early cars. And then he got himself a 95R, which is when I started at Ford. I was on the launch of that car, the 351 car. I love those 95Rs. And then he had to really search for a 2000. Those things are super collectible now. You know, maybe they are. Some people are put off with the wing and all, you know, but to have that Cobra R, to have all three Cobra Rs that SVT produced, to me, it was a labor of love. And, you know, one of those cars came from a good friend that we knew out of Pennsylvania, Mike Pekoski. And, you know, they sold those cars to Mike Berardi because they knew they would be loved and well cared for. So, yeah, the three Cobra Rs, how cool is that?
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. Like you said, the prices on them are going through the roof. It's just like, it keeps climbing and climbing and climbing. There's like no decline or no stall. They just keep raising.
But wait, there's more.
Yes. There you go.
Now,
that's all you, John.
So, folks, if you don't know me, then you're not paying attention. Now, if you don't, I've spent most of my career in two books and all the TV appearances and on the History Channel and thousands of presentations telling people that the second generation Mustang deserves its own place. It is not a rebadged Pinto. It is not. The platforms are different. They're different widths. They share only a small pieces of stampings, some brake parts, but people insist they're Pintos. So what happens? Mike knew I was so crazy about this that it made me crazy. And so he found some guy that cut up a Pinto station wagon and got it he squeezed it out to get a Mustang II Cobra front end on it. He actually put a Mustang II interior in it, put Mustang II bumpers on it, and they called it the Pinto Stang or Musto.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's got like a Boss 302 engine in it, a 9-inch Ford rear. It's monster. So why would he do this? Because this car is, people say, see, it's proof. A Mustang II and a Pinto are interchangeable. And the metal work and body work that went into this to try to make a Pinto sheet metal and Mustang match was insane. So if you ever want to, maybe we'll do a whole episode. We'll go to Berardi's and we'll walk through this car to show you how difficult it was. But Mike, why would anybody do this to me? A Billboard Cobra Pinto wagon. This sickened me.
Yeah, it's, they do it just so they can make that, debate, right? Just like, the Mustang was named after a plane. Same kind of thing, they're saying this was definitely a Pinto all day long. We still hear it all the time. And
you did it again, Mike. That's another Mustang myth. We're going to have to bust that one. All right, what else we got? Let's see. Okay, so if you think all you're going to see are collectible old cars, you'd be wrong because, once you get into the super hot Mustangs, let's face it, everybody who knows Mike Berardi knows he's a 71 to 73 nut. He's got, especially the big blocks. If you got a 429, the better. But he loved also the GT350s. So, and the KR Shelbys. So here you'll see as you go from the Cobra R's to the GT350 late model to some of the beautiful Mach 1s. These guys, he's another Mach 1 lover. And, any kind of 71 to 73, the Boss cars, they're all going to be at the Berardi collection.
John, if I'm correct, that GT350 is one of the first runs of 15 that they only did, I think, 35 or 36 of, before they switched over to the 2016 model year. And I believe almost all the most recent ones that Mike actually ordered of his special cars, he's usually has VIN number 17, I think is his number. So that car is probably VIN number 17 out of that first 35 or 36 that came out of the batch.
Super early build. That's why when you walk through, and Mike tells a story about every one of these cars.
Yes.
Well, there we go. Now, I told you he loves what they call the big horses. And when we walk through his collection, some of these cars, he's got them in every color. He's got them in every engine configuration. I mean, it's so much so, Mike, that Mike's been known to buy up junk 71 to 73s. He's got a back lot where he strips down any good worth parts, restores them, and actually runs an eBay page to sell parts to people who love these big horses. And I just love that whole lineup of big horses.
Yeah, but you got to love that 70 Grabber Green. That was my whole inspiration behind the Roush 729 car in 2017.
Yeah, of course, he's got a Mach and a Boss, and that one had a shaker on it. You know, that's just...
He's got one of the old big horse Boss 351s as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful stuff. Now, for those people who think that, there's just too many iterations of Mustang to be included in somebody's collection. Somebody said, hey, you didn't have a Bullitt. So he went out and got himself a Bullitt Mustang, an S95, and then they said, well, there's a new Bullitt, and S197. So then he chased that around and got a S197. They go, hey, did you know that they made an S550? So what did Mike do? He went out and got one of those too. To his credit, they're all green. And
the only thing he's missing is Sean Kiernan's original one. Mike should have bought that, and then he would have had the whole one.
Sorry, he'll have to part with a lot of money. But see, he's got the Bullitt banner on the wall. He's got Marta reports of every one of these cars. So all three Bullets. How cool is that? So Mike, when we saw the Boss Mustangs that were there, especially the late generations one, that came to mind a fabulous story about Mike Berardi that I don't think a lot of people know.
Right.
And yes, I think we're going to save this for a trivia question. Should we tell people now, Mike?
Yes, absolutely. I think that original color, John, was electric green or something along those lines.
Yeah, we were on a committee to consult on the Boss 2 program for Dave Parasak, and they brought enthusiasts from all around the company, even Bill Cook, who did a lot of our photos, and Steve Denvey and Mr. Berardi, myself, and we were brought in to consult on the 12 and 13 cars. Well, while we were talking about the 12 car, there was the 13 in this electric blue thing, or electric green color, and Mike Berardi was not paying attention. You know what he was doing, Mike? He was staring at this car. And when they asked him a question about the 12 Boss, he goes, what? They said, did you hear what I said? He goes, no, what's that? Is that going to come out this year? That's the 13, he said. And they said, well, that color, what's it called? It's electric something. And he goes, no, I got to have it. They go, what? He goes, I got to have that color. I got to have that car. I have to wait a whole year of 2012 Bosses to get that? He goes, yeah, that's for the 2013. He goes, well, I got to have it. I got to have it now. I got to have it. So they changed the color name of the car from electric hue or whatever it was to gotta have it green. Based on Mike Berardi repeating himself, being mesmerized by gotta have it green. Mike, how is that even possible?
Isn't that such a cool story? I mean, I tell anybody who ever mentions that color, I have to stop and tell them the story. And during the tours, when I'm there with Mike, when we get to that car, Mike always nods it over to me to tell the story. So it's really, really cool and just a part of history that will never be forgotten, right? At least within our tight Mustang community.
Yeah, very cool. So when I walked down the line, the cool thing about going to the Motor City Mustangs collection, Mike, was that Mike Berardi, when he tours, will stop in front of every car and give you the owner's story. He not only cares about the car, he cares about the owner who got it, gave it to him, the story behind each car. That's what makes the tour here cool.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, not all the cars there, Mike, are drivable.
Right.
So he had to double stack. The building's only so big. And when he finds a car that he wants to play with, he puts it up on the upper rack. And he does restore. He's restored several cars in my years with him. And he has projects slid away for someday when he has time. It's really cool to see what he's got on the horizon, and that's why we see a couple of future products cars that look kind of like junkyard finds, but Mike Berardi knows the cars well enough and the people well enough to make great restorations on these old Mustangs.
Yeah, and you know that the pink big horse, which is his daughter's car, I know recently that's really getting paints all done on that now, and he's starting to put that thing back together.
There's a few more cars under the rack. Yeah, I did. I think you're right. I think I got to see the pink car.
Yeah, I just seen pictures of it the last couple of days on social media, so I know it's coming along really well.
Yeah, really, really cool.
There we go.
Now, I didn't remember him having a Woodward edition.
He just got that recently.
He did?
Yeah, so I've been trying, anytime I found one, I was trying to send it to him. In case you guys don't know what that is, that's the Woodward edition Mustang, 97, right, John?
Yeah.
Is the year on that. And we were trying to find one for him, the right one or whatever, and we finally ended up finding one, and I sent it to Mike, and he contacted the guy, and they were talking, and I believe, if I believe the story is correct, if not, Mike can correct me in the comments, but it was very close, like within his neighborhood that the owner had it is. So like, I think he could walk to the person's house of who he bought it from. And, you know, it was there for many, many years and never knew that. But I think it was literally like in his subdivision or some kind of story like that, which was really crazy.
Love that stuff. Woodward edition car. You don't get to see those at all.
Yeah. Beautiful shot, Joe.
Well, when you walk through, Mike, you know, he really pays attention to getting the most colorful cars. Somebody told me when walking through his collection, it was like somebody dropped a bag of Skittles on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Look at that shot. That Joe Deladvitch, what a great shot on that. That's Fox heaven, if I would describe it.
For sure. Yeah, so
there we go.
What happened was I walked through his collection a few years back, and I said, you know, Mike, you got great Mustangs, but you don't have any second gens. He goes, what? Oh, yeah, how can you not like the second generation Mustang? So,
because of their Pintos.
Yeah, he said, yeah, right, because I had to break that. So know what I did, Mike? I think I started him on collecting Mustang IIs, and, you know, I have a red stripe over white Cobra II, and he went out and bought one. And then he started buying them, and they had King Cobras. I think he's got everything, even a Mach 1. I think he's got every year Mustang II now. This and a couple of beautiful stallions as well. So he's even got, yes, people, he's even got Mustang IIs in the
I'm surprised Sue, his wife, even talks to us anymore. How much money between me and you we've made him spend.
For sure. Wow. So it's not all just old Mustangs. You know, he likes to get early builds cars, and the cars.
That's another car 17, John, I think.
In Brittany Blue, he got a Shelby GT500, and when he found out Brittany Blue would be a limited edition, he got his order in, Mike, I think, early, and parked this among some. I mean, that's going to be a classic, a collectible. So, yeah, he still got his name in, and there's a VIP list, and they still remember the value that Mike Berardi gave Ford Motor Company as field service engineering, and he's got that beautiful Brittany Blue GT500 parked there in his collection.
Yeah.
Now, that's not, of course, the only one. He's got a lot of nice early Shelbys. He's got really, I think, I love his KRs. I think he's got a great mix, Mike, of the late model supercars. You know, you can't own every one of them, but to get the significant cars down the road, he's always been interested, which shows that, yeah, they all came from the classics, but he kind of picks and chooses what's going to be the collectible car of the future and tries to get one.
Yes, absolutely. And look at that, just a rage on. That's just crazy.
They're all Shelbys.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous.
Pick your year S197 or S550 Shelby, and it'll be there.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean, Mike, that they had to be late model Shelbys. Some of the hardest cars to get, obviously, are, you know, the first gen GT500s. He loves, since they're the bigger cars, he loves them. He's got a couple of really nice Shelbys. You know, the fact that the cool thing is he drives these cars. They're not barn cars that just sit there. And right. I remember when he took one of these GT500s to work for a whole week. Who would do that? Take a GT500? Yeah. But that's Mike Berardi.
And you got to love that 69 and 70 Shelbys. Those are absolutely incredible.
Yeah, you got the yellow one and a black one, the gold stripe. Yeah. He likes the black and gold. Very beautiful cars. Now here's a little shot. So when you sneak in between all the cool things, you can walk among the cars, and to see the Cobra R's. And if you look in the beginning of this photo, you'll see that to the right and left, those are the super rare Foxes, because when the '79 Mustang came out, everybody got the pace cars, but they made a Cobra. To get an '80 Cobra, those are so rare, Mike. And you don't see them at car shows. So few people had them because they went for the pace cars, and the fact that Mike found a couple and put them, and you can see them as the predecessor, if you will, of the Cobra R's.
I say the 80, 81, and 83 are the most rarest to get your hands on out of the whole 60 plus years.
Very cool. Now, if you think he likes pace cars, you're right. Probably not as much as Monty Menares of the West Michigan Mustang Club, who has just about every pace car in the world. So what did Mike buy? He bought a scale. I think it's a gas powered.
Yes, it is.
It's a gas. Just to get those mini Mustangs, and a beautiful fiberglass body, a reproduction. I think it's a 1-seat, so you can drive around it. It's not like a Power Wheels car. This is a gas powered go kart replica of the '94 Mustang pace car. And I thought for sure if anybody would have bought this, it would have been Emmeline King.
You're right.
Who designed the interior. But Mike's got that pace car in there, and he tells me it actually runs.
And, John, I also see Jamie Allison's old little car back there.
The Daytona pace car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike sure has a love for Mustang pace cars, but having the go-kart, that's cool.
Yeah.
Now, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that somebody... Here's the problem with Mike Berardi. You mentioned that you don't have something, and that sets him off. So when he come across a Sprint Mustang, Mike, I think they were just featured recently before the Olympics. Ford put something out on them. The '72 Olympics, we did a red, white, and blue Big Horse Mustang. They were usually all white with blue stripes and red pinstriping, a unique interior, and we sold them as the Sprint Mustang. Well, he bought one, and so he goes, well, that's nothing. They made a convertible. He goes, what? Yeah, so he had to get the coupe and he had to get a convertible. Then they found out they made a Sprint, Maverick, and they made a Sprint Pinto. He goes, what? So do you know he's got all the Sprints?
Yes, I do know that.
Even the impossible Maverick and Pinto Sprints. And they're beautiful. And he restored one of them. So not only did he have to get all versions of the Mustang, but I've never known any collector to own all of the Ford Sprint cars from 1970.
Yeah, is that cool?
Beyond cool. So, Mike, how does a guy, what a story he had to tell with his love for the good humor trucks. When his wife Sue contracted cancer and he was afraid to lose her, and she survived that, and then Mike himself had cancer, and then he himself survived that. They love their good humor truck. So what did they do? They went out and bought good humor ice cream. They bought a truck, restored it, and brought it to car shows, sold the ice cream that they bought out of their own money, and donated all of the proceeds to the Cancer Society. This is the kind of guy he is. Mike, didn't that good humor truck show up at many MOCSEM events?
Yeah, it's at every single Mustang Memories. But here's the thing, too, guys. For all of our listeners, or if you've actually never met Mike Berardi or may not know who he is, but you've attended the Woodward Dream Cruise for one or Mustang Memories, and you've seen that good humor truck, and there's a guy and a girl slinging the ice creams, that's Mike Berardi and his wife, Sue. And most people might know him as the good humor man. And it's funny because, it depends on what circles you're in of how you might know him. But if you're trying to put together who Mike is, that's the man behind that truck.
You'd never know he was a Ford director, that he has several of these. He's restored a couple of these.
With uniforms.
Yeah, they have the uniforms and the hat and the change maker. They do the whole thing right, Sue. And for these two cancer survivors to go out there, use their own money to buy ice cream, and they buy the good humor stuff. I got a toasted almond last year. And to be there and spend all day.
I like the chocolate eclairs, yes.
Yeah, and they're working the shows and then donating. This is the kind of people Mike and Sue Berardi are.
Yep.
Now that kind of, when I asked Joe can you take a shot that kind of gives you the overall building? So I don't know if he got up on a ladder, but to show you the mix of somebody said, well, you got a cruising van Pinto wagon, but that's named after the cruising van. He goes, what cruising van? Well, in '77, there was a cruising van, an E series, an Econoline. So he went out and bought one of those.
Yeah.
What is wrong with him?
John, that lime big horse right there, the first time I ever went into the Berardi collection, that was just getting torn apart to get restored. The first time I was ever in there, and now look at it.
Yeah, beautiful car.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah, Hertz Shelbys. I don't know if you remember, Mike, we couldn't get a Hertz car for one of the 50th displays we had up on Woodward. And there he had his Rent-A-Racer, which very few people have a black and gold Hertz Rent-A-Racer from the 60s. And when Nick Sturgis said we don't have one, he gave him the keys to his black and gold Shelby Hertz car to drive up to Woodward. He said, "No, you just take it." He goes, "What?"
Yeah.
And Nick drove it, even though I think it did suffer vapor lock, and Nick had to push it. But now he followed it up with all the other Hertz Shelbys that came out in the modern era, and that row of 3 black and gold Hertz Shelbys. How cool is that? See what happened when you said you don't have the new one, so you went out and got it.
Right.
Here's another. Now that's a view from the other end of his building. He put the new Woodward Dream Cruise edition, but now you can see the array of cars. Now, if you're thinking that he's got too many Mustang IIs up on the hoist, that's probably correct. And Mike, the reason is you can't get parts for a Mustang II, so they're slower restorations than the rest of his cars. But what a cool collection!
But that's a really cool named corner.
Okay, he called it the Clor corner. They called me the brand ambassador for the Mustang II. What an honor!
Yes.
Yeah, I told Joe, he'd be remiss. You got to do a zoom close up of Mike Berardi's love of Gotta Have It Green. So he promised he went up right to the car and showed you how well Mike doesn't have a speck of dust on that car. He polishes it every day because he gotta have it green.
What a great shot!
And when it comes to the Cobra R, Mike Pekoski's car, before he passed, he wanted it to go to, I know this car was delivered with a flat tire, and Berardi said he couldn't find original tires for the 2000 Cobra R. But that's how, he really wanted to keep these cars original as much as he can. And I got to give him credit. He really searches to make these cars as factory as possible. So when you come in there, you're looking at real Mustang history.
Correct.
Okay, so it's not everybody has fastback Shelbys in their shop, but one thing I got to give Berardi, he had a story of his own Shelby that he had sold and then bought back at a later date. But a lot of other guys come in there, because he's so good on these cars, Mike. I think, he knows to take them apart. He's not a restorer himself, but he really knows his Shelbys. And for a guy who was a director at Ford and really shouldn't know that much about these cars, because this guy takes them apart. But so it wouldn't be. It's so great to see these cars up on the rack and maintained the way collector cars should be.
Yes, I agree. That's a beautiful car.
So this was an industrial building and it had offices near the front. So what did Mike do? Did he just close off the front of the building and just leave the back for parking his Mustangs? No. Every one of those offices, Mike, he remodeled and made them different rooms. This is
correct.
A picture. I think this is his picture of the diecast room.
That is correct.
He put shelves in, and all the Mustangs that people have donated or he's purchased or collected, he puts them all on display. And when you walk through his diecast room, for example, or his clothing room, or his Cobra room, every room's got a theme to it, Mike. This really makes the tour special.
Yes, it does. And, you're wowed in every single room you go into. There's an anniversary room. There's the diecast room. Sue has her own room. He has his office with the pinball machine.
Yeah, it's Mustang pinball. Yeah. That's another rare item, the Mustang pin. But this is what you get when you go on a tour.
Yes.
Now, not all of them are the big, 1/18th scale, even the 1/25ths. He likes Matchbox. He likes 1/64th, but he doesn't collect them all like most of us do. He likes the specialty models, just like he does on the floor. So here you'll see he'll collect some of his favorite of the 1/64ths and put them in a themed display on his glass cases. And to see him explain why he buys them, that's the value of hanging out with Mike Berardi.
Yes.
Well, Mike, if that wasn't a walk through some of the coolest collections around.
And that ain't nothing. You got to really be in person to see it all.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got to hand it to, thank you for Joe Deladvitch for shooting those pictures, and Mike for walking down memory lane with us, walking through Mike's. It changes every year. You never know what the hell he's working on, what he's going to buy. He didn't listen to Sue. Stop buying Mustangs. I don't think he'll ever stop. So the next time you're in Detroit, check out Mike Berardi. Go down to MOCSEM.com. You'll be able to contact him there. Mike, I think you left your club in great hands as one of the great Mustang people in all of Metro Detroit.
Yeah, I don't think I could have asked for a better successor to take over 20 years of MOCSEM from me. And he's doing a great job, and we look forward to keep working with him and MOCSEM going into the future.
Absolutely. So, folks, we hope you enjoyed that little tour. Make sure you click on that like button and click on the subscribe button so we can share these little Mustang tours with everybody. That's your exclusive tour of Motor City Mustangs of Mike Berardi in Detroit. So, Mike, how much fun was that? Let's do it again sometime when we go to the next collector tour.
That's correct. That's absolutely.
So make sure you put your like in there. You put your comments in. Check us out on all of our podcasts when we come to these photo essays. We want to make sure you guys get to see what we get to see on exclusive tours. So until next time, we're just going to have to catch you guys down the road.